Have you ever wondered why the very people you pour your heart into saving are often the first ones to turn their backs on you and stab you from behind? You think you are acting like a hero, but in reality, you are only turning yourself into prey. Society teaches us to be selfless, but Niccolò Machiavelli, from the Renaissance era, saw through the darkness of human nature and delivered a cold warning. Blind kindness is the death sentence for your power. Look at Julius Caesar, the man who forgave his enemies only to receive 23 fatal stab wounds in return. The truth is, some people are not born to be saved, but to drain your energy and drag you down into the mud with them. Trying to fix someone who is destroying themselves is like jumping into a raging current to save a person who is clutching a stone. They will use you as a stepping stone to rise to the surface, regardless of whether you sink into the chaotic depths below. Today, we are going to expose the true face of the world and cut the naivety out of your thinking. It is time to stop being a poor, kind-hearted person and become a strategist who controls the game. Watch this video until the end to accurately identify the 6 toxic types of people you must absolutely never allow yourself to save, so you can take back control, protect your energy, and hold firmly to your own supreme position before it is too late. The blamer. Have you ever tried to help someone solve a problem, only to realize they spend 90% of their time complaining about fate instead of actually taking action? You give them a solution, and they give you back a reason why it is not feasible. If you have ever encountered that situation, it means you are facing the first type of person Machiavelli advises you to decisively turn your back on: the blamer. These people always possess a very subtle psychological nature. They like to turn their misfortune into the ultimate weapon to manipulate the kindness of those around them. Instead of taking responsibility for their own lives, they choose to play the victim and blame every mistake on their circumstances. It was this weak-minded way of thinking that led the master strategist, Niccolò Machiavelli, to issue a cold warning in his classic book. He believed that fate may throw unexpected adversity at you. But the difference between a leader and an ordinary person lies in the ability to master the situation. The strong will find a way to subdue circumstances, while the weak will surrender and look for a scapegoat to bear the consequences on their behalf. Therefore, when you reach out to save someone who always plays the victim, you are not helping them become better at all. On the contrary, you are turning yourself into the next target for their resentment. Because they do not need a solution, they only need someone to blame when everything continues to fall apart. Imagine the blamer as someone sitting in a room filled with water. Instead of looking for the hole to patch, they only scream, blaming the person who built the house and cursing the heavens. When you step out of pity, they will immediately force you to bail out the water for them, while they continue sitting still and judging. You see, your naive kindness is not a virtue, it is a deadly weakness. A clear-headed man must understand that you have no obligation to fix the life of someone who does not want to save himself. The only practical solution here is to decisively stop giving advice, stop providing financial or physical support, and return the consequences to their rightful place so that cruel reality can teach them the lesson. It is time for you to step out of other people's mud and focus on building your own empire. Type the word self-determination in the comments if you are determined that from now on, you will stand outside other people's victim-playing dramas. The Parasite. Look back through your contact list and pay attention to the names that only light up when they need to borrow money. Ask for connections, or find someone to lean on in times of trouble. But as soon as they get what they want, they immediately disappear as if they had never known you. If you are not clear-headed, you will forever be a free tool for this second type of person, the Parasite. On a deep psychological level, These people operate based on an extremely toxic mindset, reaping where they did not sow. They approach you not because they value who you are as a person, but because they see in you a resource that can be exploited, a profitable host to feed their own selfishness. A relationship with a parasite is always a one-way street. They drain. While you contribute, they demand your unconditional sacrifice. Yet treat that kindness as an obvious obligation you are required to fulfill. The greatest danger when you try to save or protect this type of person lies in the fact that they have the ability to weaken your will invisibly. They never demand all of your resources at once. Instead, they wear you down little by little, taking a small amount of your money, temporarily borrowing a few of your relationships, and draining your mental energy through pitiful cries for help. Over time, you will be pulled into a psychological trap called sunk cost, where you convince yourself that you have already helped them so much that if you abandon them now, all your previous efforts will have gone to waste. That is the moment you officially lose control. The parasite sees your kindness as a deadly weakness to manipulate, and they will continue clinging to you until you are completely exhausted, left as nothing but an empty shell with no value left to exploit. Looking back at Western history, the great thinker of Renaissance Italy left behind an expensive lesson about managing alliances of power. He asserted that if a kingdom wants to endure and maintain its power, every external relationship must be built on a balance of interests and mutual respect for equivalent strength. Your constant tolerance and support of a parasite is no different from the strategic suicide of the late Roman Empire during its period of decline. Instead of using the sword as a deterrent, the Roman emperors chose the easy path of continuously cutting off land, paying tribute in money, and supplying food to feed the barbarian tribes along the borders in exchange for temporary peace. But cruel reality proved the opposite. Those barbarian tribes were not grateful at all. They grew stronger and more aggressive day by day thanks to Rome's own resources, until they eventually turned back to plunder, burn, and push the entire great empire into total collapse. When you feed a parasite with your own energy, you are repeating Rome's exact mistake. You think you are acting with righteousness, but in reality, you are personally raising the very person who will destroy you. A man with a leader's mindset must know how to carry out the strategy of cutting off aid decisively and coldly. You need to draw clear boundaries around finances, time, and work-related interests in a fair and straightforward way. It is time for you to stop handing out resources carelessly to those who only know how to suck blood, and begin investing those resources into worthy alliances, people who are willing to fight fairly alongside you. Press the share button on this video and send it to a brother you know is also being drained by parasites, so that together you can free your energy and take back your position as the one who controls the game. The self-destructive person. There is a type of person whose life is an endless chain of drama, debt, visa, and toxic relationships. You rush in to save them again and again out of compassion, but they always find a way to throw themselves back into the mud. Machiavelli would call this strategic suicide, because you are trying to save the third type of person, the self-destructive person. Looking deeply into the nature of behavioral psychology, these individuals carry within them a dark gravitational pull toward collapse. They do not truly have a desire to be healed or to repair their lives. What they are truly intoxicated by is the feeling of chaos and the attention they receive when they are in a state of crisis. They turn repeated failures into a personal identity, use trauma as a shield, and treat misfortune as a privilege to demand endurance from those around them. The ultimate danger of being around a self-destructive person lies in the contagious nature of destruction. Modern psychology points out that negative energy and toxic thinking have a powerful ability to assimilate the surrounding environment. When you reach out to pull someone who is plunging headfirst toward an abyss, you do not have enough weight to change their trajectory, but they have more than enough force to drag you down with them. Unconditional pity at this point becomes a trap of psychological manipulation. You delude yourself into believing that if you sacrifice enough, if you love them deeply enough and remain patient enough, they will change for you. But the brutal reality is that they will use your own body, finance, and peace as a cushion to soften the pain when they fall, only to then stand up again and find another way to destroy themselves. Regardless of the fact that you are left behind in ruins, halfa millennium ago. The guiding teacher, Niccolo Machiavelli, left behind a chilling warning in his chapters on the art of reading people. Stay away from another person's collapse, as you would stay away from a contagious plague. He asserted that a clear-headed ruler must absolutely never ally with or tie the fate of his kingdom to those who are already on the path to ruin. Blind tolerance toward a self-destructive person does not prove that you are a good person. It only proves that you lack strategic competence. Look at the classic cinematic figure of Jordan Belfort in the film The Wolf of Wall Street during his downward slide into darkness. The associates, wife, and friends who tried to stay in order to save him from drugs, madness, and illegal deals all had to face tragic outcomes. Some were targeted by the FBI, while others lost their fortunes, destroyed their reputations, and ruined their careers. A self-destructive person only truly stops when they hit rock bottom on their own. And any intervention from you before that moment is merely an act of prolonging the suffering for both of you. As a mature man with a leader's mindset, you must accept a brutal truth. You are not a messiah, and you do not have the power to change someone when they themselves are craving destruction. The only solution to preserve your power and energy is to decisively step aside, establish a steel boundary, and let the law of consequences of cruel reality teach them the lesson. Stop playing the hero in a story that was already destined for a tragic ending. Press subscribe on this channel right now to officially establish a boundary that protects your leader's mindset from the toxic energies out there. The envious person. It is easy to find someone to mourn with you when you fail, but extremely difficult to find someone who genuinely smiles when you succeed. Be careful with congratulatory pats on the shoulder when the eyes are filled with calculation and hidden resentment. Reaching out to support this fourth type of person is how you personally raise a poisonous snake inside your own home, the envious person. When you help someone who has fallen on hard times, ordinary thinking and the hollow moral lessons of society will tell you that they will engrave that favor into their heart and look for a chance to repay it. But the inner world of an envious person operates along a completely distorted trajectory, reversed against common sense. You need to understand this naked truth. The support, money, or relationships you generously hand over do not plant gratitude in their heart at all. On the contrary, it is like a bucket of cold water, a fatal slap straight into their wounded pride. Every dollar you lend when they are desperate, every job opportunity you introduce when they are unemployed, is a living piece of evidence, a painful splinter reminding them every day that you are in the superior position, successful and above them, while they are only the weaker one, failed and pathetic. They accept your help because circumstances force them to, because of an empty stomach or the debt closing in around them. But deep inside, they hate the feeling of indebtedness down to their bones. Your kindness unintentionally becomes a mirror reflecting their own inadequacy. And that is why they secretly nurture layer upon layer of resentment beneath the sweet mask of gratitude. This irony and hidden paradox is exactly what Niccolo Machiavelli dissected with his cold, unfiltered pen when discussing how a Renaissance leader should deal with people. In his worldview, granting favors to those who already carry envy in their blood is a strategic mistake leading straight to destruction. Human beings have a very cruel psychological tendency. They can easily forget those who have done them favors, but they will remember for a very long time, and very deeply, the things that make them feel lowered or inferior. When the envious person regains status, money, and strength, which, ironically, comes thanks to your very help, the first thing they do is not look for a way to repay you. They will immediately find a way to stab you in the back, smear your name, or bring you down at all costs. Why is that? Because only when you fall, only when you are no longer standing in a position above them, can they erase the inferiority of indebtedness that has weighed heavily on their mind for so long. They need to see you fail in order to delude themselves that they were never beneath you, that your previous success was only due to luck, and that they are the ones who are truly more talented. Look at the tragic relationship between Antonio Salieri and Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart in the history of Western music to clearly see how this cruel law operated with precision in real life. Salieri was a musician of supreme royal status, holding wealth, power, and the recognition of an entire glorious court. He himself lacked nothing in terms of material possessions or reputation, but the appearance of a pure genius, a radiant source of energy named Mozart, caused Salieri's inner world to collapse completely. Salieri realized that no matter how hard he tried his entire life, no matter how diligently he worked, he would never possess Mozart's sensitivity and natural-born talent. Envy of that talent turned Salieri into a gloomy man full of hatred. Instead of acknowledging and protecting his naive colleague, Salieri quietly used all of his political influence and aristocratic connections to isolate, restrain, and sabotage Mozart's career in a subtle way from the shadows. The more naively Mozart trusted him, the more he saw Salieri as a respectable senior figure willing to help him in difficult times, the more opportunities Salieri had to push him into poverty, exhaustion, and death in loneliness. Mozart's misplaced kindness and trust turned him into easy prey for a demon of envy hiding under the name of a companion. The danger of the envious person lies in the fact that they never reveal themselves from the beginning. They hide very carefully beneath the mask of close friends, brothers who have shared hardship, or colleagues who constantly praise you. They will stay beside you, listening to your goals and your million-dollar projects with a smile. But deep inside, every cell in their body is praying for you to fail. When you run into trouble, they will be the first ones to come and comfort you, because your downfall soothes their inferiority. But when you rise above them, when you buy a new car, sign a major contract, or advance in your career, the envy inside them will flare up into a destructive fire. If you foolishly pull them up with you, share your resources or your position of power with them, you are personally handing them the weapon to finish you off. They will learn your formula, access your clients, take advantage of your reputation, and when the time is ripe, they will kick you out of the game without the slightest hesitation. As a man on the journey of building a career and asserting your position, you must be clear-headed enough to recognize an iron law. Not everyone deserves to see your glory, and even less does everyone deserve to be lifted up by you. Kindness without defense is stupidity. For envious people, the only practical solution is to absolutely never show off your success in front of them. Maintain a safe social distance, and never let them hold any of your secrets, core plans, or fatal weaknesses. Learn to be strategically humble when standing before small-minded people, and keep a cold decisiveness to protect your own achievements from toxic sources of energy. Do not let naivety turn you into the next Mozart of the modern age. Keep a cold head and sharp eyes so you can see through the heart of the person across from you before deciding to extend your hand to help. Leave a period in the comments as a silent oath to yourself that from now on, you will keep the major plans of your life hidden from prying eyes. The lazy person. We have all met people who constantly dream about getting rich, love talking about million-dollar projects, but whose only real action each day is lying around and waiting for an opportunity to fall from the sky or for someone to come and protect them. If you continue to provide for them or tolerate them, you are directly nurturing the fifth type of person, the lazy person. Modern society often confuses laziness with difficult circumstances, or worse, romanticizes it as leisurely waiting for the right time. But through the realistic lens of a mature man, the lazy person chooses the path of deliberate ignorance in order to avoid the responsibility of survival. They do not lack arms and legs. They do not lack intelligence. What they lack is iron discipline and the self-respect to stand on their own 2 feet. They treat other people's kindness like a comfortable hammock to sleep in. When you save a lazy person by giving them money, carrying their work for them, or constantly cleaning up the battlefields left behind by their irresponsibility, you are not helping them become better at all. In reality, you are taking away the pressure of survival, the only thing that can force a living being to move and evolve. You are turning yourself into a free crutch. And once they become used to walking with a crutch, they will completely abandon the instinct to learn how to run. The great philosopher Niccolo Machiavelli, when explaining the core strength of a nation, affirmed that prosperity does not come from available resources, but from disciplined hands, from people who are willing to take real action and contribute their abilities to the common flow. He viewed lazy, parasitic people as a type of parasite that eats away at productivity, a serious strategic burden that weakens the fighting will of an entire collective. A wise ruler absolutely never tolerates laziness within his ranks, because the energy of laziness is highly contagious. When hard-working people see a lazy person still receiving protection, support, and rescue from you without having to pay the price in sweat and tears, they will begin to doubt the value of contribution. Your misplaced kindness unintentionally breaks the order of fairness and drags down the productivity of the entire system you are working hard to build. Look at the reality from stories of lottery millionaires or wealthy second-generation dependents in real life. When a person receives massive financial support or is protected by their family from childhood to adulthood without going through labor, the reward system in their brain will be completely destroyed. They lose the ability to withstand pressure, lose the skill of solving crises, and lose their core survival instinct. When the source of support suddenly stops, or when life's upheavals come crashing down, these lazy people collapse faster than anyone because they do not have any practical skill set to support themselves. Your constant act of reaching out to save them is, in reality, a toxic form of kindness, indirectly pushing them deeper into the swamp of learned helplessness. However, the biggest problem for a man when identifying a lazy person is not whether he should stop helping or not, but how to refuse them without turning himself into an enemy in their eyes. Lazy people are very sensitive to having their source of support cut off, and if you refuse them in a brutal way or act superior while lecturing them, their wounded pride will turn into hatred, turning them into boulders that block your path of advancement later on. Therefore, instead of using a rigid attitude, a wise strategist will skillfully apply the art of refusing by transferring responsibility. Instead of saying, "I will not help you because you are too lazy," redirect the conversation by setting prerequisites that require action from them. If they come to borrow money for a dreamy business project, say, "I am very willing to provide financial support if you send me a detailed 20-page business plan." Clearly analyzing cash flow and competitors within the next 3 days. When you require them to work before receiving the reward, 99% of lazy people will automatically withdraw because the effort required to write that plan exceeds their tolerance limit. They will actively go look for another host that is more permissive to parasitize, and you will completely escape the trouble while still maintaining politeness and not creating any hatred. Another approach is the art of giving tools instead of giving results. If a coworker or a friend constantly asks you to do part of their work for them because they do not know how to do it, do not directly step in and do it for them. Send them a tutorial video, a book, or a course link, and say in an encouraging tone, "I believe someone with potential like you can absolutely do this on your own after going through all of this material. This is a great opportunity for you to upgrade yourself." In this way, you both preserve your own energy boundary and play the role of a thoughtful supporter, while also forcing them into a position where they must move on their own if they want to survive. You are not refusing kindness. You are simply redefining kindness in a more strategic way. As a man with a leader's mindset, you must understand that your time and resources are limited. Every hour you spend doing work on behalf of a lazy person is an hour you lose for building your career, taking care of yourself, or investing in brothers who are truly worthy. Stop doing things for them. Stop protecting them. And stop feeling guilty when you see other people refusing to move. Let the pressure of real life, hunger, debt, and social elimination do their job. That is not cruelty. That is respect for the natural law of human evolution. If you commit that from today onward, you will stop tolerating the laziness of those around you in order to focus all your resources on building your own career. Save this video to your playlist as a compass that reminds you of a leader's mindset every day. Luke, the betrayer. A wound from an enemy never hurts as much as a stab from someone you once trusted with all your heart. But the mistake, even worse than betrayal itself, is softening your heart and giving them a second chance. Believing that they have truly repented after their tears and sweet apologies. Remember this final blood-soaked lesson from Machiavelli carefully. You must absolutely never save the sixth type of person, the betrayer. To understand the level of danger this type of person carries, we need to dissect the nature of betrayal through a cold, logical lens. Betrayal is not an accident, nor is it a momentary mistake caused by circumstances. It is a chain of conscious decisions. When a person actively breaks your trust in exchange for money, status, or their own safety, they have placed you on a scale and performed a cost-benefit calculation. They are fully aware that the price to pay is their own honor and their relationship with you. But they still choose personal gain. They are willing to step on the shoulder that is lifting them up in order to rise. Therefore, do not naively think that your tolerance or your help when they fall on hard times will transform a soul that has already rotted. When you forgive them and extend your hand to save them once again, they do not feel grateful at all. On the contrary, they secretly assess you as an easy target, a weak person lacking the ability to fight back. They will obediently behave like a little lamb until the next profitable opportunity appears. And at that point, their knife will be even more fatal than the first time. Looking back at Western history, the death of the great emperor Julius Caesar is the most powerful proof of this strategic naivety. Caesar was famous as a leader with extraordinary mercy. After winning the civil war, he made a fateful decision. He forgave Marcus Junius Brutus, the man who had once stood on the opposing side against him. Not stopping there, Caesar also favored him, granted him titles, and loved Brutus like his own son. Caesar believed that love and supreme favor would be exchanged for absolute loyalty. But on the cruel chessboard of power, the nature of a betrayer never changes when interests are placed on the scale. On the fateful Ides of March in the Senate, Brutus stood among the conspirators and swung the decisive knife that ended Caesar's life. The blind tolerance of a legendary general had to be paid for with his own life and the collapse of a chapter of history. Brutus was not moved in the slightest by Caesar's deep affection when supreme political interest called. The lesson drawn here is extremely clear. On the journey of building a kingdom and asserting the position of a mature man, there is never any room for a second chance when it comes to betrayal. Human nature is very difficult to change, and someone who already has a history of turning their back on their benefactor will certainly repeat that behavior when the conditions are ripe enough. Your decisive refusal to save a betrayer when they are in trouble is not an act of petty revenge. It is the minimum strategic self-defense needed to preserve your life and the fruits of your own labor. Learn to operate your mind like a true leader. Establish a steel boundary. Once trust has been trampled on one time, every connection must be cut off immediately, permanently, and without any exception. Erase their name from your life. Cross them out of your future plans, and let them face the consequences of their own wrong choices. Keep your mind awake and your eyes sharp in the face of fake honeyed words. Turn on this channel's notifications right now to always keep your mind awakened by the next strategic lessons. This is the shield that protects you from ever repeating Julius Caesar's fatal mistake. Conclusion. Looking back on the journey we have just gone through, I hope you have realized one truth. Kindness without strategy is nothing but a silent form of suicide. Niccolo Machiavelli did not teach us to become cold-blooded people. He was simply stripping reality bare so you could understand this. To protect your own position and kingdom, you are forced to learn how to read people with a cold head. Your power and peace are far too expensive to be handed out carelessly to those who only want to drag you down into the mud. Now, be honest with yourself. Among the 6 types of people we have just dissected, do you see the shadow of someone who is quietly draining your energy every day? Or have you yourself ever had to pay too high a price simply because you tried to play the Messiah? Leave your story or realization in the comments section. I want to hear what is in your heart. Most people out there will choose to keep closing their eyes and surrendering, living inside the illusion of blind selflessness, only to bring pain upon themselves. But you are different. You are here because you dare to wake up, because you dare to look directly into the dark side of human nature in order to change your thinking. This battle for survival and mastery over your own destiny has only just begun. To become a true ruler in the modern world, knowing how to refuse to save these 6 types of people is only the first move. You need sharper strategies than that to master the game. Subscribe to this channel today as a commitment to open the path for your own leader's mindset. Welcome to the world of those who take command.